is mourning the passing of former Minister Tina Joemat-Pettersson. At the time of her death, she was serving as the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Police.
That's right. The party's spokesperson, Mahlengi-Bhengu Motsiri, joining us this morning. And a very good morning to you, and I appreciate your time. Let's very quickly just get your thoughts then on the sad passing of Tina Joemat-Pettersson. How's the party reacting and feeling this morning? I'm going to just ask you, Mahlengi-Bhengu Motsiri, I'm sorry, I think you might be muted. Maybe just double check the muting and just restart your answer for me.
Okay, thank you very much. Are you able to hear me now?
I am, yes. Good morning. Go ahead.
Thank you. We obviously are really just trying to get our heads around this. As the eNCA heartbroken about the untimely passing of Comrade Tina Joemat-Pettersson, at the age of 59, somebody with also quite an illustrious history in terms of serving the people of South Africa, dating back to the days before the dismantling of the apartheid system, all the way to the early days of democracy when she became the youngest MEC for education in the Northern Cape, that time during the stewardship of President Nelson Mandela.
Talk to me about the void that is now left as well. Currently was serving as the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee of Police. Give me a sense of what she'd achieved in her time doing that.
Well, I think the parliamentary caucus team of our representatives in Parliament would speak of her in glowing terms in terms of how she discharged that responsibility fearlessly. And sometimes I think also to the great concern from those of our deployees who serve government in the executive arm of the state. And we're quite proud of a number of achievements in that regard. But I do wish to speak about Tina as in the ANC as somebody that rose through the ranks, strong in education, strong in the production and harvesting of knowledge. Her having been an educator by profession all the way to her being an academic, lecturing at the University of the Free State. This was now just before she was then asked to take on a public representative role. That is just but one of the many things that she has done. But she also was a fearless gender activist, was very invested in the issue of gender equality in South Africa as well as in the continent. There are many other things that can be spoken about Comrade Tina, including her work of recent in the Peace and Stability Committee of the ANC. This is what now at the time of her passing. And so we remember all of those things that she was associated with. I do wish to also say that she was very much invested in cultivating and affirming young women in the governing party, within the governing party and in society. So when we look at all of those things, a number of us are really heartbroken.
I do want to ask about how the party is planning to celebrate her life, and if you do have any information, Mahlengi, on any funeral plans or memorial plans. I will get there in a moment because I think that is very important. And while you've painted a glowing picture of all the hard work she did as an activist, it would be remiss of me not to ask for the ANC's reaction to some of the criticism levelled against Joemat-Pettersson during her time, just namely the allegations that she was one of 3 MPs who tried to extort 600,000 rand from suspended public protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane's husband. That's one. During her time as energy, when she was involved in the energy sector as well, there was that controversial nuclear deal signed with Russia, which was then declared unlawful and involved back in 2016 the alleged illegal sale of 10 million barrels of strategic oil reserves. That is also something I would like to get your view on.
Well, I suppose that, as the ANC, we always open about talking about those things, that when somebody has passed, we don't immediately default to that kind of a conversation. You would know, Gareth, that this has been hardly 24 hours since she passed on, if not maybe 16 to 18 hours. One of the things that we're trying to do is to allow the family space to reflect on. This is now back to your earlier question. the family to reflect and come to terms with what has happened. Comrade Tina was based in Cape Town, but she came from the Northern Cape, and we do have a delegation of the ANC that is traveling to the family in the Northern Cape, joined by our provincial leaders there. So any other detail related to her passing, the memorials and everything related thereto will be ventilated sometime later in the day and or tomorrow, just to allow the family space to decide on these things for themselves, and the ANC should then follow after that. So that will be the one thing, but I would say that certainly the ANC will memorialize her as it should, given her strong contributions to the achievement of democracy in our country and its sustenance with all of its challenges. And then to your second question, controversies that are related to her tenure in two responsibilities. One is energy minister, and the other is a member of the Section 194 committee. Those I'm not in a position to now make a finding, particularly on the latter one, given the fact that that investigation is still underway. Whether she was part of that or not, I think it would be really premature for anyone to express a view on that matter, because there is an investigation other way in that respect. But I think I'm here this morning really to talk about how we're feeling as the African National Congress on her passing.
Absolutely. And while I do take your point, as I say goodbye to you, that's a point I raise because that's where the conversation, Mahlengi, seems to be going on social media. That's why I wanted to offer the chance to put the ANC's view forward. There are a lot of critics, some are saying unfair critics, on social media. So what I'm asking is, what do you tell those people who aren't remembering her for all the good work she did, but instead of focusing only on those negatives? What do you tell them this morning? That's where I was going with my question. I'll ask for a brief reply if you can.
Yes, I would say that to the latter one, as I said, I think that an investigation is still underway, and we all, including the governing party, are really looking very closely at that particular investigation. We will express a view, and that is the one. And then in as far as her role as an energy minister, I think that a great deal of detail was shared there. I don't think society is unanimous on that perspective. I think there are views about her tenure there and what her achievements or lack of were. And it's not just a one-way street. There are different views in society about it.
I appreciate your time and the view of the ANC this morning. ANC National Spokesperson Mahlengi-Bhengu Motsiri speaking to us about the passing of the now late Tina Joemat-Pettersson at the age of just 59.